Hey everybody, I hope you guys are doing well. Before we get into this video, do me a couple of solids, okay? Go ahead and like this video in advance. Subscribe if you are not subscribed to my channel. Promise you'll like it around here. And as always, I always appreciate your support. And the best way that you can honestly support this channel is if you see an ad, let it play. Some of the regulars know that's how I get down, right? They let the ads play. Now, I'm not talking about them long ads when it be like, you think it's going to be like 15 seconds and it end up being like 4 minutes. I'm not talking about that unless you're just feeling really generous. But nonetheless, if you see an ad, honestly, that's the way I get paid over here on this channel. So just let it play. All right, now let's go ahead and get into this in this conversation. Now, in the past, I have dragged T.I. over here on my channel. I have called him Malcolm Text. I have said that he's the man over there from the Living Color. You know, the guy from prison, Oswald Bates. I have called him Martin Luther Tip. Okay, Tip Luther King. I have said a lot of stuff, right? I have dragged T.I. because it's just this dude just put his foot in his mouth so much. But then again, I have decided today, I said, you know what, listen, it's either one or two things happening with T.I. because once again, he's getting dragged on the internet and you'll see in a minute why. I don't know if T.I. is just so clever, so smart, like he just knows how to like get people riled up and talking and you know, engaging in his podcast and just engage and he's trending. Like, I don't know if he's just so smart and so clever on purpose, or he's just so narcissistic and oblivious to others around him and he doesn't read the room. I don't know, right? A part of me feels like the latter is true here, right? But let me get into why I'm saying that. So T.I. is once again trending because he is saying that spending quality time with his daughters is considered THOT Prevention Hours. That basically, if he spends a little time, I guess with Eris or Deja or Zanique or whoever, it is THOT Prevention Hours. Okay. Now, he said this on his recent podcast of Expeditiously with 21 Savage. They were engaged in a conversation, and it came out of his mouth. So I can't do it justice. What I'm going to do is go ahead and play the audio for you guys so that you can hear him say it.
I feel like as a man, I'm just naturally more overprotective for my daughter than I am of my son.
That's also true. This is also true.
I don't know why, I don't know what it is, but I feel like it's because as men, we know how we do women.
Because sons can't get pregnant.
That too, but it's like...
Sons can't get pregnant.
But we know how we treat women. So I feel like I just don't want my daughter to ever just run into one of them niggas.
But you can't keep her from running into one.
Nah, you can't keep her, but I want her to know how to feel real love so that she know how to discern what's the difference between the two.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I think that's key. That's key. Being able to motherfucking provide the, you know what, me and Lil Duval call it THOT Prevention Hours. You got to put in them THOT Prevention Hours. Keep your daughter off the pole. You know what I'm saying? So you spending time going to daddy-daughter dances and you taking them on trips where it's just you and her. Those are THOT Prevention Hours that you're putting in. You got to do that. Yeah, don't do that. But her gonna be somewhere in Magic City, man. You know what I'm saying? Trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So that is absolutely necessary for any father. If you ain't putting in your THOT Prevention Hour, then your daughter end up or down. So don't blame her now. Don't look at her talk about, oh, you motherfucking hot at. No, nigga. You didn't set an example. You did not set an example. You did not show what the fuck it was that she should be doing versus what she's doing.
So there you have it. There you have it. THOT Prevention Hours. And as expected, T.I. was trending and the words THOT Prevention Hours were trending as well. What a crazy 2020. Wow. Nonetheless, before I get into and try to unpack what T.I. has said here. I want to commend 21 Savage. He's just been I have really grown to like him lately. Like, I have grown to really, really like him. And how he just takes a very measured approach about a lot of different things. And I do appreciate that he recognized something that T.I. just kind of stepped on. T.I. completely stepped on this man's message, right? He recognized that he was trying to basically prevent his daughter from being with a man like him. But nonetheless, T.I. had to go and step on it and talk about thought prevention hours and all this other stuff. And that's why people commenced to dragging him on the internet. And I'm going to show you guys some tweets of people basically dragging T.I. Now, I thought, well, I could, in fact, go ahead and be one of those to pile on, but I don't necessarily want to take that approach. Not to say that I'm not going to be critical of what he said, but I do want to kind of, I don't know, in the spirit of the season, perhaps, approach it a little different. First things first, thought prevention hours. That's weird and stupid, and to think that if a man's not in a girl's life, then he's basically saying, her only lot in life, her only route that she could possibly take, her only lane is if a man is not in a daughter's life, she just has to become sexual. She has to become a whore, right? She got to get on the pole. She got to do all of those things if a man is not in her life. And it was just, I felt like he was attempting to be funny, and a lot of people just didn't get the joke. Like, I see where he was going with it. I see what he was attempting to do here. I just think that the joke necessarily didn't land. And you know how Twitter can be, right? Now, to be fair to T.I., although thought prevention hours is kind of, I'm sure, his thing and Lil Duval's thing, he didn't invent that whole idea of, oh, well, if I'm not here, or my only lot in life, my only goal in life is to keep my daughter off the pole. Okay. Chris Rock, I recall many, many, many moons ago in a comedy special basically said his job as a father is to keep his daughters off the pole. So, and I don't recall people kind of beating him up about it. I don't remember 1,000 think pieces on it. So, to be fair to T.I., although it was dumb what he said, he didn't invent that kind of thinking. And hell, Chris Rock didn't even invent that kind of thinking. I think that dads have always been like that. How many times have you heard, like, I got to go get my shotgun, or I got to go buy a gun because I got a daughter? So that's still that line of thinking that you have to, to protect your daughter's innocence or her virginity, while treating boys a different way. While treating boys a completely different way. And we're going to get into that because I do think that is in super, super, super important to this conversation, which is why I want to take a different approach to T.I., not necessarily just kind of like, throwing insults at him and all this other stuff. I just honestly kind of want to unpack this a little differently because there are a lot of men and women, to be fair, that don't think that there's anything wrong with what he is saying, right? A lot of people just don't necessarily think that there's anything wrong with a father saying, hey, I am trying to keep my daughter from going down this route. I would like to keep my daughter this way. There's a lot of thinking like that. There is a lot of thinking in that regard. A lot of people think like that, right? And they don't necessarily think that T.I. is wrong in this. I want to read this. It says, a black man who wants to keep his daughter from becoming baby mama is getting bashed. The black community doesn't want progress at all. Now, here's my issue with T.I. I think that however a parent wants to raise their kid really honestly is their business. The issue here is, of course, is that T.I. has a platform. So we had to hear the fact that he has his daughter's hymen checked. It's weird as fuck, right? But we heard it, right? Or that he goes to the gynecologist with her. He may not even be, he's not the only father that probably does this, right? But the problem is here he has a platform and he's going to say stuff. He's going to, and again, he puts his foot in his mouth constantly. So T.I. really does kind of get the brunt of, as far as getting beat up, because I can assure you that he ain't the only man or the only father that does this kind of shit. My issue with T.I. is this. I'm annoyed at how misogynistic these kind of conversations are. And let me explain. Again, I feel like he stepped on what 21 Savage was attempting to do here. And I think that it could have honestly turned into a really beautiful conversation, because I felt like 21 Savage was going there. And T.I., like I said, he stepped on it. T.I. said something along the lines of, well, boys don't get pregnant. Because it's almost to me like his sole lot in life, as far as spending time with his daughters, is to literally protect their sexuality, to just stop it, to stop it. And what parents don't seem to recognize, although you probably have the best intentions, right? Who wants their 16-year-old daughter to be pregnant, right? You can have the best intentions in the world, and who wants that? So on one hand, I get what he's attempting to do. They're just going about it in such a weird way that it comes off, is aggravating to some, because again, T.I. is a public figure. But the truth of the matter is here, this is the thing. You constantly browbeating a young lady and constantly on her neck about every little thing. All you are doing is teaching her how to become a couple of things. She will either grow to never own that part of herself, right? Or she'll be very, very sneaky. Because and usually it's the latter, where when you just kind of lock a girl in and she can't do this and she can't do that and she can't do that and she can't do that, they have a tendency to be the sneakiest ass people. And what I am annoyed by more than anything is how, once again, he said, well, boys can't get pregnant. Well, here's the thing. A girl can have a baby a year. And let's not get into semantics about twins and shit like that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. A woman can give birth once a year. But a young man can get many, many, many girls pregnant in a year's time. And T.I. is so focused on so-called protecting his girls and trying to prevent them from doing certain things and exhibiting or engaging in certain behaviors that he is just letting his boys run wild. And we have evidence of that. If you've ever watched T.I. and Tiny's Family Hustle, everybody was giggling when they found out that King had become sexually active. It was a good old giggling good time about that. Hell, we saw King on the Instagram Live, and T.I. was kind of like, he over there smoking weed. So everything's a good giggle when it's the boy. And what he doesn't understand, why he's attempting to prevent his daughters from going out there becoming thots, he is not doing the same thing with the boys, right? He is trying to prevent his daughters from becoming everything that his boys are out there being. And I don't know about the older ones, but he doesn't seem to have an issue with King being sexual and doing all this other stuff, right? The fact that he could make multiple babies in a year, but browbeating Deja about the fact that whether she has a hymen or not. Like, make it make sense. I think all of this stems from the fact of what 21 Savage alluded to, is that we don't want, at the end of the day, we don't want our daughters to be around niggas like us. We don't want our daughters to end up being with guys like us. And that's what I think this is all about when it comes to T.I. He knows deep down inside, he don't want his daughters to be with him. And he understands that that's his karma, that he may think that that's his karma. So what does he do? He keeps them locked up to prevent them from being with T.I. But the truth of the matter is, you can't prevent that. All you can do is do what we all try to do, and that's our best, right? We can raise our kids up and hope that when they go out there in the world that they make good decisions, right? But once they get out there, those decisions are theirs to make, and we can only hope for the best. They don't always go in the way that we want them to go. Sometimes it goes left, right? But we ultimately, what I'm sure that he think he is doing is the best he can do by his daughters, but while letting his son run amok. And that's just not cool to me. That's the issue I have with this, is that he does not do that with his sons. It's all about the girls, but not checking the boys' behavior. And that's not okay. That's not. And furthermore, about these thoughts that he always talks about, it's interesting to me that he's always talking about he's thought prevention. But these are the very women that you go and cheat on Tiny with, T.I. The thoughts, those are the women that you cheat with. Those very women that you are dogging, that you talking about Magic City, on the pole, those are some of the very women that you have cheated on your wife with. So to be perfectly honest, T.I., my best solution to you would be, if you want your daughters to grow up not to be thoughts, how about you show them what a good man looks like? How about you show them what a good, loving man looks like? They would be far more, impacted by how you treat the women around them, right? Or just possibly have a conversation with them, teach them some game. If you're so worried about what kind of dude gonna get in their ear, teach them. But that might require you, T.I., to be honest. And I think that's the issue. It might require you to have an honest conversation with your daughters about what kind of man you were and possibly who you are right now. And you don't want to do that. So you would prefer that you just lock them up in a tower, for the rest of their lives. Or if you don't spend if you spend time with them, then it's thought prevention. And that's why people have an issue with that. Again, I don't think he invented this whole idea of being protective of girls and letting the boys run amok. He didn't invent that. He's just perpetuating it once again because he has a platform. And it is dangerous. It's dangerous because I just feel like, stop with the boys get to do this, but the girls, they can't. We can't let them. We can't. All you get, the best way, honestly, is just to show your girls, talk to your girls. And I'd like to think that if honestly, T.I., if you just so happen not to spend time with your daughter and she runs out there and becomes a thought, then there was something else going on with her. It has to be something else that maybe you need to check as to why your daughter would run out there and become that. I was honestly bothered by that whole idea of, again, if a dad isn't if he's not with his child, spending quality time with his daughter, then she gonna go out there and be a stripper, as if that's her only lot in life, is if he doesn't. There's a lot of girls that don't grow up with their fathers and they don't go off to strip. That's ignorant. But again, I think he was just trying to be funny in that regard. But nonetheless, I got folks talking again. But like I told you, I don't want to beat him up over this. I do want to kind of understand it, but I also, like I said, more aggravated at the fact that this is just one of those things where it's always the girls, and it's never trying to prevent the boys from, growing up to be the kind of dude that you are. How about you teach your sons differently, right? So that they don't go out there and engage that kind of, because boys can be thoughts too. Boys can do the same shit that you're trying to so-called prevent your daughters from being. And I just hate that. I really do hate that kind of thinking. But in the effort of just not trying to beat up on him, I don't think that he invented it. And I think for the most part, like most parents, I wouldn't say that T.I. is a bad father. I just think that we're all trying to do the best we can. And in his mind, he thinks that he's doing a good thing. And he wouldn't be the first or the last to have this kind of thinking, right? But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. What do you guys think about THOT Prevention Hours and this whole conversation? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you guys on the next video. Take care, y'all.